think Ron Paul's views are totally outside the mainstream of virtually every decent American.
Newt Gingrich calling Ron Paul totally outside the mainstream. This is a man who wants a moon colony, Mr. Mainstream. Let's talk social issues, because people often say you are a conservative liberal, and there aren't many of those around, Ron Paul. Let me ask you about your view of gay marriage, because I've read differing twists on this. Okay. What is your honest opinion about gay marriage?
I am totally neutral on the cause of liberty. When people want to be married and call it a marriage, it's none of my business. I can set my standards, and then others can decide whether they want to follow me or not, but I would never use force.
You don't believe in abortion under any circumstances. It's something that's driven, I think, by your time as a doctor. You delivered many, many babies. And I read a heart-rending thing you once said, that you once delivered, I think, a 2.5-pound baby that you, as you said, you had to put into a bucket.
Not me. I wasn't a participant. I was a very, very casual observer as a student of...
But you witnessed this?
Yeah, I walk in a room and it happened. It was 5 minutes. It was over. I walked out of the room and I thought, wow, what did I just see?
But it clearly scarred you.
So it was a lack of respect for life that it dawned on me.
Here's the dilemma, and it's one I put to Rick Santorum very recently, and I was surprised by his answer, although I sort of understood from his belief point of view that he would come up with this. But it's a dilemma that I'm going to put to you. You have 2 daughters. You have many granddaughters. If one of them was raped, and I accept it's a very unlikely thing to happen, but if they were, would you honestly look at them in the eye and say they had to have that child if they were impregnated?
Now, if it's an honest rape, that individual should go immediately to the emergency room. I would give them a shot of estrogen. Or give them...
You would allow them to abort the baby?
Yeah, well, it is absolutely in limbo, because an hour after intercourse or a day afterwards, there is no legal or medical problem. If you talk about somebody coming in and they say, well, I was raped and I'm 7 months pregnant and I don't want to have anything to do with it, it's a little bit different story. But somebody arriving in an emergency room say, I have just been raped, and there's no chemical, there's no medical, and there's no legal evidence of a pregnancy.
So life doesn't begin at conception?
Life does begin at conception, but...
then you'd be taking a life.
Well, you don't know if you're taking a life either, because this is an area that is... But to decide everything about abortion and respect for life on this one very, very theoretical condition where there may have been a life or not a life.
No, but here's the thing. Although it is a hypothetical, it does happen. People do get raped and they do get impregnated, and sometimes they're so ashamed by what's happened that weeks go by before they may even discover they're pregnant. And they have to face this dilemma, and they're going to have a president who has a very, very strong view about this.
Now, this is like the proposal that the people who like abortion endorse abortion because it's the woman's right to her body. And you say, well, does that mean 1 minute before birth you can kill the baby? And I did this on one of the TV programs where some women were opposed to what I was saying. I said, this 9-pound baby, it's in the woman, she has the right, she argues her case. I said, you would abort this baby because the woman has had some unfortunate circumstances, so the doctor gets paid a handsome fee to kill this 9-pound baby. Oh, that's not what we're talking about. But that is what they're talking about. They're talking about a human life. So a person immediately after rape, yes, it's a tough one, and I won't satisfy everybody there. But to tell you the truth, what I saw happening in the 1960s and the change in the law and the change in attitude, and people were doing illegal abortions. To me, it's a moral problem. It was to change the morality of the 60s. The lack of respect for life leads to the lack of respect for liberty and all the things that I believe in. So it was a change in morality that had the Supreme Court change the law. So I don't believe the change in the law is the magic cure. I do believe, though, very sincerely, if we don't have an understanding of life and have a lot of respect for life, I can't defend people on their personal liberties. I can't be as tolerant as I am on how they use their liberties. So that's why I think it's really a moral issue rather than a legal solution to all these problems. Then, as a physician, as a gynecologist, I've had to face some of these very, very difficult problems, and I understand them. And even before Roe versus Wade, many of those problems that existed where there's no perfect answer, they were taken care of, but it was always done. They respected the fact that they were dealing with a life.
But and just finally on this point, do you accept there's a slight contradiction between a candidate who is pro-liberty, pro-personal choice, pro-personal responsibility in almost every other area, but on this specific area says, no, you don't have choice?
See, I don't see the inconsistency, because I see the 9-pound baby that's still within the mother as deserving some protection too, who deserves a protection. That fetus has rights, because if I do harm to him, I get sued. If you have a car accident and kill a fetus, there are legal rights there. But to say that it's only the mother, it's very, very unique. If you carry your argument to all the way through, we have a right to our homes. Shouldn't we have the privacy of our homes? Do we have a right to kill the baby 1 minute after birth? No, everybody says, matter of fact, this is what happens. We can kill the baby before it's born and the doctor gets paid. 1 minute after birth, if the woman who was unfortunate enough to have this baby, if she throws the baby away, she gets arrested for a homicide. And to me, the 1 minute before birth and 1 minute after birth isn't a whole lot different. So
but you understand that to a lot of people with serious religious conviction, it is. I mean, they say life begins at conception.
Life does begin at conception.
So it's a moral maze. Let's have a break. Let's come back and talk about your family, because you've got an incredible family. You've got 5 children. How many grandchildren?
18.
And how many great-grandchildren? Amazing. Let's come back and talk about your extraordinary family and your wife.